Welcome to How to Kick the Sugar Habit webinar. In just a moment, we'll start. So good evening, thanks for joining me. And I'd like to ask, can you relate to this? Oh my gosh, how can it be 6 a.m. already? Maybe if I just hit the snooze just once, maybe I'll feel better. In 9 minutes, I drag myself through the shower, brush my teeth. Wait, did I already brush my teeth? I'm already thinking about when I can crawl back into bed. This is how I would start pretty much every day. Now I'm up and out of bed when the alarm goes off and I'm actually awake. And before I was pre-diabetic, and now my sugar numbers are actually good. And before I was totally stressed out. But now I'm full of joy. Now my turnaround was not overnight. And this has been a journey. And it's been a journey of learning, awareness, trial and error. And I was skeptical when I first started because I thought change could only happen through sheer willpower, of which I don't have any. But I realized that it was much easier than I thought, and I was able to follow through in a way that I never had before. Now at 63, I have a lot more energy, I'm more productive, I have more joy in my life, and I'm expecting many more years of a full and active life. And now I have the opportunity to help others just like you do the same. My name is Deborah Loader. I'm a certified health coach, and I work with women who don't have the energy that they used to, and I help them turn that around. I believe that healthy doesn't have to be hard. And if you feel healthy and vibrant, anything else in your life is possible. And one way to have more energy is to kick the sugar habit. Now, whether you've never tried to be healthier before, or whether you've tried several or every diet on the planet, or whether you're already pretty healthy, you'll learn something that can take your health to the next level. Over the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to talk about the 3 challenges that we face when we try to kick sugar, the 7 solutions that finally kick the sugar habit, and what total transformation looks like. Now, I'm not saying that you can never have sugar again, although that's possible if that's what you want. What I'm talking about is getting rid of the cravings. Now, would that be helpful? I've developed a program called the Total Transformation System. And one part of that program is teaching people how to kick the sugar habit without giving up sweetness. I've been helping people successfully kick sugar and experience a total transformation using these exact same steps that I'm going to teach you today. Now, it's my goal for you to connect the dots and show you exactly how you can do this too, no matter how far you've fallen off track. Now, we have a limited amount of time together today, and I'm going to teach you as much as I can about our topic. And then I promise before we finish, I'll show you how to take it further if you want to. There are three main challenges that all my clients, and well, probably all of us, have when we try to kick sugar. The first one is wondering why the heck we have the cravings, the sugar cravings in the first place. Everyone else is saying that food is calories and grams of fat. Now, I'm saying that's only one way to look at food. Everyone else is saying that food is fuel. And I'm saying that food is more than simply fuel. It has energetic qualities that go beyond the science and mechanics of calories and fat grams and nutrient values. For example, leafy greens grow upwards, so they have a lifting energy, whereas the root vegetables, like a potato or a beet, they grow deep in the ground and they have a grounding energy. So I'm saying the other way to look at food is something pretty cool. And the concept is called the polarity of food. So what does the polarity of food mean? The concept of polarity is actually pretty simple. It's based on the principle that everything has two polarities or extremes. For example, hot and cold are extremes of the pole called temperature. And it's the same way with every apparent opposite. You have hard and soft, noisy and quiet, light and dark, good and bad, love and fear. When you find one thing, you also find the potential for its opposite. So to look at the world through the lens of polarity is to look at it in pairs: dark, light, night, day, male, female. So how does this concept apply to food, and what does the polarity of food look like? And where does the inherent energetic quality of different foods fall on that spectrum? And how might this polarity in your food actually be creating your cravings? Well, visualize on one hand the extreme of expansive bliss. And foods that represent this energy are alcohol, caffeine, sugar, dairy, and to some extent fruit. So the energy of these foods make you feel light and relaxed and happy, blissful. But when you eat too many bliss foods, you may start to feel spacey. So then visualize on the other extreme, contracted tension foods. And these foods are contracting versus expansive. And examples of these foods are salt and eggs and red meat. These are the kinds of foods that put meat on your bones, right? And they make you feel grounded and focused, maybe even aggressive. So that's all fine and good, but how do the extremes of the polarity of food, the expansive bliss and the contracted tension, how do these relate to sugar cravings? I'm glad you asked. So if life is a system of opposites and your body is always trying to balance itself out, what do you think happens if you're having too many contracted foods like salt or meat or eggs? What do you think your body might start craving to balance itself out? It will crave the opposite of the contracted foods. It will crave the sweet, expansive bliss foods. So do you find that if you have something salty like potato chips, that you crave something sweet afterwards? So that's the challenge. If we have too many contracted foods, we'll crave the expansive. And if we have too many expansive foods, we crave the contractive. So what many people don't realize, and I didn't realize this myself either, is that we're oftentimes creating our own cravings, right? So, and you can look at activities in your life through that same lens of polarity. of expansive and contractive. There are things that happen in your life that are a little bit more contractive. They create more tension. And then there's things that are more expansive. They create more relaxation. So examples of contractive activities are running or working too much, partying, staying out late, stress. And when you have too many contractive activities, you're going to crave more expansive foods because you need relaxation. If you don't allow yourself to relax, then you'll find yourself binging on wine or chocolate, bread, desserts, because your body is begging for a break, like sleep or reading or prayer, meditation, walking, or just taking a bath. It's like if you've been driving in awful traffic, or you've got a toddler who is a nightmare, or you've had a really stressful day at work, what are you going to crave? Sweets or a glass of wine or a martini, expansive foods. That craving is your body trying to balance itself out again. So when I work with clients, we deconstruct their cravings and we look at not just the foods that they're eating, but also their lifestyle. And we start this conversation during a discovery session that's a 60-minute phone call, and we talk about lifestyle and stress as well as food. So the second challenge around kicking sugar is that no one wants to do it because it feels good, right? It feels good to eat the sugar. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I existed on Kraft macaroni and cheese, Fruit Loops, and Coke. We considered that a balanced diet, right? We had grain and dairy, fruit, and water. I'm sure there's a little bit of water in Coke, right? I mean, it's no wonder that I didn't do anything, and I didn't even realize how bad I felt. But I also used to kid around and say that when I died, they wouldn't have to embalm me with all the preservatives that I ate. But you know what? Neither of those things are funny. I mean, I was literally killing myself. But why does it feel so good to eat sugar? So let's take a quick look at what's happening in our body when we eat sugar and why we experience that awesome sugar high. Well, products containing lots of sugar usually don't contain lots of fiber, fat, or protein, because fiber, fat, and protein slows down the absorption of sugar. So when those nutrients aren't present, your blood sugar will shoot up really fast, like to the top of a roller coaster. Now, at the top of the roller coaster, your brain is alerted because your brain uses about 50% of the blood sugar at any given time. So any drastic rise or fall in your blood sugar levels cause your brain to flip out. So when your blood sugar spikes, your brain and your body are not happy, because to your body, this is an emergency. So what does the body do? Your pancreas secretes the hormone insulin to bring your blood sugar back down. But the problem is, we have spent a lifetime eating a lot of high sugar processed products, and insulin has gotten so good. It's gotten really, really good at doing its job too well. So when the insulin is sent out, it doesn't just bring your blood sugar back down into balance. There's often too much insulin secreted, and so our blood sugar dips way down. And that's that blood sugar crash that you feel after that sugar high. That crash may be like spacey, spaced out, shaky feeling. I'll sometimes get like clammy sweats from that blood sugar crash. But once you have a blood sugar crash, now what does your body crave? Sugar, right? And then what happens to our blood sugar when we eat sugar again? It goes back up to the top of the roller coaster. So this up and down cycle continues, right? And I mean, has anyone experienced that where you've got the blood sugar high and then the crash, and then you eat more and it's high and then you crash again? And this is one of the reasons that we start eating sugar and we quite literally can't stop and crave it. Because that's your body actually trying to find that blood sugar balance. So the sugar craving is your body's way of saying it needs something specific to restore the balance. And the easiest and most convenient food to do that, to balance that blood sugar out, is sugar. If we keep eating the sugar, we're going to stay on that roller coaster. And that roller coaster, it affects our mood, it causes weight gain, it can lead to serious diseases like adult onset diabetes, and there's a little bit more to the story too. So after the hormone insulin is sent out to take out the excess sugar out of the bloodstream, it has 3 places to put it. One is your brain, remember that takes 50%. 2 are your blood cells, and 3 are your muscles. Now, if all of those receptors are full because you've already been eating a lot of sugar, then where does the excess sugar go? Right on the hips, right on the gut. The excess sugar is stored as fat. And here's something else to consider that most of us know, many of us know that the blood sugar levels go up and down, right? But we often don't realize that there's an emotional roller coaster that accompanies that. And we feel happy and energetic for a while, and then suddenly, unexplainably, we find ourselves arguing with our friend, our spouse, kids, or beating ourselves up in our mind. And our moods are all over the place. I met Jane at church, and when she found out I was a health coach, she said, "Deborah, I have terrible sugar cravings, and I have absolutely no control. Can you help me?" And she had tried and tried to lose weight. And she said that she just would always be fat. And that was actually a word that was spoken over her when she was a young girl. We worked together over 90 days with my total transformation system, and she lost 13 pounds, renewed her relationships with her daughters, and no longer craved sweets. As she learned about making healthier food choices, her cravings just fell away. We didn't even talk about them. I mean, her cravings were gone, and she had such a confidence in herself. And finally, she was in control of food and not the other way around. The third and final challenge with sugar, I experienced this myself, and I notice that my clients experience this too, is that when you're not happy with an area of your life, like your career, your relationships, your finances, your workouts, your sex life, your family, where you live, the winter weather, it's sometimes so much easier to reach for sugar than to deal with what's really going on. And I totally get that. So craving may seem like a pain in the butt, but what if those cravings are a messenger to help you step into that best version of who you are? That's pretty amazing. You want to kick the sugar habit, not because you'll lose weight, but you will. Not because you'll have more energy, which you will, and not because you'll be free from those cravings, which you will. It's because you'll be healthier, stronger, and you'll live longer. When I take clients through the total transformation system, we look at not only the food they eat, but their lifestyle. I took Jenny through a 14-day cleanse, and she lost 8 pounds in 2 weeks. I increased her awareness of how her lifestyle was affecting her health and how the timing of the food was making her feel. Now, you didn't just come here for problems, you came here for solutions. So let's look at how to get started on kicking sugar without starving or giving up sweetness, even if you've never done it before. Now, there are 7 solutions to kick the sugar cravings. 1, check your beverages. Sounds crazy, but sometimes sweet cravings are a sign of dehydration. So just pound a glass of water and wait 5 minutes and see if you still have that craving. Also, too much caffeine can actually mimic a blood sugar crash. And so you're high for a bit, and then when you come crashing down, sometimes your body doesn't translate that right, thinking it's a blood sugar crash, and so you crave sugar. So how much water should you drink every day? A lot of people will just say, half of your body weight in ounces. And that's a really sort of quick and easy way to figure out how much you should drink. It really should be a little bit more than that, about 67% of your body weight. Now, if right now you're drinking 1 glass of water a day, I would not suggest that tomorrow you try to drink 100 ounces, right? Going from 8 ounces to 100 ounces. But what I would invite you to do is maybe tomorrow increase it a little bit, even to 1.5 glasses. The day after, 2 glasses, and just build up slowly. That way it's sustainable. Going from 1 glass to 8 glasses in one day, you're probably not going to keep that up. Number 2 is to satisfy your sweet tooth with veggies and fruits and spices. Now, your tongue has sweet taste buds that demand to be satisfied, so don't hold out on them. But add naturally sweet foods and spices. Foods and spices to your diet, like squash, yams, carrots, beets. If you think that you don't like beets, I would invite you to try roasting them, especially the golden ones. If you kind of cube those up and roast them on high heat with some avocado oil, they are amazing. So on the fruit side, you might try berries, figs, or apples. And on spices, cinnamon, coriander, nutmeg, cloves, cardamom. Any of those are great. A lot of people like to put cinnamon in their breakfast cereal, in their tea, in their coffee. And that's one of the favorite spices that I've heard about. Number 3, sleep. Now, for many of us, this is easier said than done. But if you're constantly tired, your body is going to look for energy, and it usually does it. It usually looks for energy in the form of sugar or caffeine. So I want to invite you to power down an hour earlier than usual and just notice how your cravings disappear. And the power down means no computer, no phone, no TV. Try something else, like reading a book or writing in a journal, maybe taking a hot bath, anything without power. And if an hour sounds impossible, try to increase it like with the water. Just try 15 minutes and add to it until you're up to an hour before your sleep. Number 4, check your protein. Now, this is a pretty fun, cool fact. Watch how much protein and what kind of protein that you're eating, especially animal protein. Is eating too little animal protein or too much animal protein can create those sugar cravings. Remember that polarity of food, right? Now, when I work with you, we find just the right sweet spot of protein intake so that you feel satisfied. Number 5 is get rid of the low-fat and fat-free foods. So when food manufacturers take the fat out of foods, what do they put in? Sugar. This has probably been the absolutely worst advice we have ever heard, to eat low-fat or fat-free foods to lose weight. Number 6, move yourself, right? Movement is another kind of food for your body. It releases stress, makes you feel great, makes you look great. And when you don't get enough, your body starts to look for other ways to blow off steam, like binging on a Snicker bar. So what are some of your favorite moves? Maybe yoga, maybe walking, maybe kickboxing. That's one of my favorites. Number 7, create new post-meal rituals. Now, if you're a dessert after your meal kind of a person, one of the things you might love about that is the ritual of it. So what are some other possibilities for post-meal rituals? Maybe taking a walk, maybe writing something in your gratitude journal. Does anyone else have, something you like to do after a meal that adds a different kind of sweetness? So do any of these resonate with you? Is there one in particular that you feel like you need to increase, or maybe one that you hadn't thought of before? I'll wrap up the third and final section with what total transformation looks like. Now, how many people know what to do, but don't always do it? Most of us, right? I mean, that's because knowing isn't enough. It's not what motivates us to action. Because we've got a lot of theory, but we're not putting it into practice. And the 3 key ingredients that bring all of this together are the right system, the right support, and the right accountability. And I want to invite you to open up to the possibility that this time really can be different, that you haven't yet tried everything. And one of the most common questions I get is, Deborah, do you work with people individually? And I do. I work with people individually and in groups. I always start with a 60-minute discovery session phone call to create a plan to move you forward to that powerful vision of what total transformation looks like for you. Now, the sessions are valued at $97, but because you're here, it's my gift to you. All you have to do is show up for yourself. So contact me by message or email or text or in the chat box here, and I'll contact you within 24 to 48 hours to set that call up. I know it's human nature to procrastinate, but I'm telling you that you can make the right decision to change your life. I'll leave you with this. 95% of diseases are lifestyle related. What we're eating, our stress level, our sedentary lifestyle, alcohol or cigarette use. My husband is sitting on the exam table, and I'm standing next to him, and we're waiting for the doctor. The doctor comes in, and he doesn't sit down. He comes right up to us, and he said, I'm sorry, Mr. McLean. Your cancer has metastasized. You need to go home and put your affairs in order. It's been 11 years, over 11 years, since I lost my husband to cancer. And it was kidney cancer, which is caused by smoking. Even before he was diagnosed with cancer, he struggled with stress. He had a really stressful job, and he struggled with depression because life didn't turn out like he expected. He suffered 2 years of surgeries and chemo and radiation before he passed away. All of that, the stress, the depression, and even the cancer could have been prevented if I had known then what I know now. Diseases like cancer and diabetes and heart disease are not inevitable. There are choices. We can make small changes, and they just create huge results. I don't want anyone to have to go through that themselves or with someone that they love. These diseases are not inevitable. There are times in our lives when we think we can do things on our own. But I found that having someone walk this journey with us can make all the difference in the world. Now is the time to ask for help. Picture what it will be like when you're no longer a slave to sugar. Picture what it will be like when you have more energy than you need. And picture what it will be like when you feel unstoppable. Do you have any questions before we complete for today? Please contact me to reserve your discovery session as my gift to you. Let me hear your challenges and struggles, your vision, your dreams, and let's create a plan to get you where you want to be. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to share my contact information with you. Just a moment, let me share my screen. There's my website. There is my email, my Facebook page, my phone number. Let me know if you have any questions or to schedule your discovery session. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, I invite you to live well.